If we could just start away from Stoke quickly, a big issue this week, obviously, with what's happened to Aaron Lennon, the subjects of mental health being talked about a lot. Is that good for the game? Do you think, hopefully, it may encourage more people to talk about their own problems, to come forward if they need help?
Yeah, I think it's important that people are able to feel comfortable with speaking about mental health issues. It's obviously worrying for Aaron at the moment, but I'm sure he's getting the support that he needs. But it's something that's in society, and men probably are worse than ladies in terms of not being able to speak about maybe problems. They have to put up this front and look strong to the outside world, when really deep down inside you've got issues that need to be talked about. So when these things happen, it's a shame and it's sad for the individual, but I think it does help everybody else in terms of bringing it to people's attention and people talking about the issues that are out there.
And as a manager, is it something that you have to be aware of, that you kind of making sure?
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly in professional sport, there's this image that management and coaches and players are immune to this, and that's obviously totally wrong. I think the fact that we're in good jobs, privileged jobs, and we get well paid doesn't stop you having issues away from the game and within the game itself. I mean, it's pressurized environment, and that can affect different people in different ways. So we'd be naive to think that this problem isn't within the sport and many other sports, I would imagine.
But hopefully now that it's sort of being talked about more.
Yeah, it needs to be. I think that's how it becomes easier to deal with. I think if there's more knowledge and more understanding about the issues that can occur, I think then it's out in the open, and maybe people aren't as conscious about keeping any issues they have to themselves. They need to get out and speak speak to people that can help them.
On to Stoke now. Team news ahead of the game against Bournemouth. Any changes at all?
We've got a couple. John Walters we're still waiting on, and we've said this for a number of weeks. We're trying to manage him through the weeks and just get him ready for games, really. So he trained yesterday, so hopefully hasn't had a reaction. I won't know that until we get into training later. So we'll check on him. Sidoberry, was ill yesterday, so we'll have to check him today and make sure that he's okay. Apart from that, I think we've got almost everybody else, apart from the long-term injuries, free and available.
Yes, really you could do without that. Another issue with one of your sort of players up front, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, that can happen. We're hopeful that it's just a 24-hour thing, and just had a little bit of sickness. So he was checked over by the doc yesterday. We hope he's going to be okay today. It might be just something that he's eaten or whatever. So we're hopeful that he'll be an option.
And Walters has a chance of...
Yeah, like I said, he trained yesterday. As long as he doesn't have any adverse reaction to the work he did yesterday, which we hope, given the work that he's done in recent weeks, he shouldn't have. So he should be an option as well.
Ryan Shawcross, what's the situation with him? Are you going to offer him a new contract? Have you offered him a new contract?
I think the intention is, why wouldn't we, to be perfectly honest? He's skipper of the club, and he's a big part of what we're trying to do here, so that's the intention. Whether or not those talks have actually commenced, I'm not too sure about, but certainly the intention is there, and I think there's a willingness on both sides to come to some agreement and some arrangement, and get to a point where both sides are happy. So I don't think we're anywhere too far down the road in terms of the initial negotiations, but certainly our intention is to try and recontract Ryan if we can.
It's been said that you've given Stephen Ireland a new contract.
Well, I think it's only fair and it's the right thing to do. Obviously, he's had a long-term injury, and I think he's out of contract at the end of this season. So we're going to extend that clearly because as a club we need to be seen to do the right thing and just give him a little bit more time to get back fit and well. Once he's done that, then hopefully he can earn another contract, but he obviously needs a little bit more time to be able to do that, and the end of the season will come too soon for him in terms of being ready to show what he can do. So we'll give him a little bit more time and that extension that he needs just to complete his recovery.
And in terms of Shawcross, are you confident that he will be, keen to extend his?
Yeah, we've no reason to think he wouldn't be keen. He's a big part, like I said, of what we're doing here. We're trying to push on, and Ryan as skipper has a big influence on what we do here. So yeah, we'd be foolish not to try and re-engage him if we can. I wouldn't have thought he would be too averse to the suggestion of re-signing. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, it's early stages yet. So once that process starts, I would imagine it'd be completed very quickly.
Jack Butland is another player who's been attracting attention, speculation that Manchester City are interested in him. Do you think you'll have a job on your hands to keep hold of him?
Jack's an outstanding keeper, and I'm sure in the future that there'll be probably more concrete interest in him. At the moment it's just speculation, just because he's got back in the team after 12 months out, and all the speculation that was beginning to grow prior to the injury is starting all over again. So it's to be expected, to be perfectly honest. But I think from Jack's point of view, he knows and he's clear in his own mind that he needs just to get back fit and well and really establish himself back in the first team here. Once he's over that process, then any further ambitions need to be looked at in the future. I think he understands what he's got here. He's got a good club. He's playing in the Premier League. He's had senior international recognition while being a Stoke player. So I know he's very happy in terms of how he's been able to develop and the part that we played as a club in terms of allowing him to go out on loan at the right time and then giving him his opportunity when he was ready so that he could take it. So Jack will have suitors in the future, no doubt, because he's an outstanding keeper and he's a young English keeper as well. So but that's for the future. I think his immediate focus certainly is just playing well for Stoke and making sure he's okay.
At the other end of the pitch is where you've been having some problems recently, obviously scoring goals. How concerned are you, how frustrated are you by that?
I think frustration's probably the word we'd use. I think I don't think there's any concern because we're creating chances. There'd be more concern clearly if we weren't even creating chances to miss. At the moment, unfortunately, we're missing them. So we need to up our conversion percentage, to be perfectly honest, because clearly the lack of goals in our performances are what holding us back in terms of changing good performances into winning performances. So yeah, that's something that we've talked about as a group, and we know we have the potential. It just takes sometimes just one goal just flying off somebody's shin and it goes in the net and then you're off and running. So we're not overly concerned because, as I said, the chances created are there in every game that we've played in recent weeks. We haven't taken them, and that's put us under a little bit more pressure in the games that we've played. But for the most part, we're quite calm in terms of our general play. It's just that when we do create chances, when we're in the ascendancy and dominating opposition, that's when you need to take the chances that you create at that moment. So in recent weeks we've failed to do that. So it's up to us with the 3 games that we have left to try and address that.
Obviously the recent form has kind of created some frustrations amongst some fans. Are they right to feel like that, to be unhappy at the moment?
Well, I don't think we've underperformed in too many games this year, markedly. I think we haven't won games, clearly, in recent weeks, but that's, for the most part, not due to poor performance. It's more to do with the fact that we haven't converted chances when we've played well in games. Other games we haven't played, and we're an honest group, and we hold our hands up to that. But I think, and I've said before, expectation is higher at Stoke these days, and that's a consequence of what we've done in previous years. So we've raised that expectation ourselves. So along with a perception maybe that we've not quite done as well as people hoped we would, there's a feeling within the group that we're still doing okay given the quality of the opposition we're up against every week. So I think just the perception is that maybe we're a little bit below where we thought we would be, and as a consequence of that, people get disappointed. But for the most part, I think we just need to remind ourselves that actually we're competing in a very difficult league against good teams week in, week out, and we're doing okay. We will always strive to be better, as everybody does, but for the most part, I think we'll look back on the season at the end of it and reflect then. But we still got an opportunity to finish really high. I think the way that the middle group of teams is at the moment, it's clear that if you win a couple of games, you can go 4 or 5 spots. If you don't, then you can slip 4 or 5 places. So it is what it is. But for the most part, we take the top 7 out, then the rest of us are really, really close, and sometimes you can be at the top end of that group or near the middle.
A lot of pressure obviously on Berahino at the moment because of the lack of goals. What advice have you had for him?
Saito just needs to keep performing in games like he is. We all feel that he's very close to breaking his duck. His general play is better, his physical condition is better, so all those lead to him return to scoring goals at some point in the future. So we've still got games left in this season, but next year, once he's had full pre-season, which is what he needs, and he gets that good preparation work leading into a new season, then I think he'll benefit from obviously the games that he's had this year, which are a bonus for him. But next year will always be when we'll judge him more harshly, I would say. At the moment, we're pleased with what he's doing, both on the pitch and training wise. He's really putting a shift in. He's not going to have much of a break this summer. Off his own account, he's going to be doing extra work prior to the main group coming back in. So that shows his commitment, his understanding of what he needs to do. And we fully expect next year he'll be really strong for us.
Josh King at Bournemouth has been scoring a lot for them. How much of a threat is he? And have you been surprised by the impact he's had for them?
No. Well, he's in a rich vein of form, and I'm not quite sure what the actual figures are. It's something like 13, 14 goals, I think, in about 17 games. So that's a good run of form. So they've welcomed his goals, obviously, in recent weeks, because they've been struggling, obviously, because they've been conceding a lot of goals without scoring and losing games. But they've turned that around somewhat. So he's a good player. We've come up against him in the past when he's at previous clubs, and he's done quite well against us in those games as well. So we need to be aware of him, because obviously confident players, certainly in the attacking positions of the field, are likely to cause you a problem. So if we can keep him quiet, keep him on the edges of the game, then that's going to help us, obviously.
And you talked there about their issues with conceding goals. Could this be the game, the chance for you to exploit that? And
yeah, we'd like to think so. I think the game here was a little bit frustrating from our point of view. We felt on the day that we were the better side. We ended up losing the game, and it was a little bit stop-start. So the Bournemouth themselves did very well to break up our momentum in that game, slow things down, and took their time over things. So so that was a little bit of frustration. So hopefully we'll be able to turn that around and make sure the game's in our favour at the weekend. Okay.
Thanks, folks.
Hold on. Thank you.